Hey guys, so in 2024, the National Association of Realtors, also known as NAR, got hit with a $418 million settlement, one of the biggest things to happen in real estate in decades. Every news outlet in the country ran the same headline: real estate commissions are finally coming down. And if you believe that, I get it, right? That was supposed to be the whole point, but here's what actually really happened. So the year the settlement actually hit in 2024, commissions dropped to 5.32%, lowest they've been in years. And by 2026, they climbed right back to 5.7. So that's higher than they were before the lawsuit even started. So the question isn't, did the settlement work? The question is, what actually changed? What is it costing you? And what you should be doing about it. That's what we're covering here today. My name's Ricardo. I'm a real estate broker here in San Diego. And this is the commission conversation your agent is hoping you never have with them. Now, a quick background. In October of 2023, a jury in Missouri found the NAR and several major brokerages had been conspiring to keep commissions artificially high. Now, the verdict was $1.78 billion. NAR settled in March 2024 for $418 million and agreed to change how the commission structure worked. So those changes went into effect August 17th of 2024. And I want you to actually understand what they are because most people really don't. So number one, no more commissions on the MLS. So prior to the settlement, we would be able to see what the commission was going to be offered if we were representing the buyer. Now, sellers can still offer buyer compensation. It's just not on the MLS anymore, and it's handled more through in-person conversations through the agents. And sellers can still offer concessions, just not on the listing itself. If you're a buyer, your agent now has to give you a written agreement before you tour a single property. Now, that agreement has to spell out exactly what they'll charge and what services you're getting. Now, before August of 2024, most buyers never signed anything. You just showed up, toured houses, and your agent got paid at closing without you seeing the real numbers. That's changed. Every agreement, buy side and sell side, now has to include a statement that commission is negotiable and is not set by law. Now, the last one is important because that was technically always true. It just never got said out loud. So here's the honest take on all of this. The settlement changed the transparency. It did not change the cost. And I'll show you exactly what I mean in a second. So let's talk dollars. Right now in San Diego, the average total commission is 5.47%. Now that's both sides combined. The listing agent takes about 2.73 and the buyer side takes about 2.74. And I know percentages sound abstract, so let me put it on screen so you can actually see what they actually look like. Now, on a $1 million home in San Diego, which by the way is now the median sales price, you're paying about $54,700 in total commissions. Now, that's someone's entire salary walking out the door at closing. At 1.2 million, that's $65,640. And at 1.5, that's over $82,000. And the savings everyone is talking about compared to the old 6% standard, on a $1 million home, that's about $5,000. On a $1.5 million home, about $8,000, which sounds great until you step back and realize you're still writing a check for $82,000. Now, the settlement didn't cut commissions in half. It moved the conversation from the MLS to the negotiation table, and the data actually shows that. So most people still haven't had that conversation with their agent or broker. Now you might be thinking, but didn't the rates at least come down on the buy side? That was the point, right? They did for about 3 months. Right after the settlement took effect, buyer's agent commissions dropped to 2.36%. That was the low. And then they started climbing quarter after quarter after quarter. And by mid-2025, they were at 2.43%. By 2026, the buyer agent side nationally is at 2.82%, which is higher than it was before the settlement. And here's the part that really matters. If you're buying or selling in a market like San Diego on homes over $1 million, the buyer agent rate is technically lower, about 2.2%. Sounds like a deal compared to the 2.52 on a cheaper home, but do the math. 2.2% on a $1.5 million home is $33,300. 2.52% on a $450,000 home is $11,340. So the rate is lower, but the check is 3 times bigger. So why did commissions bounce back? Simple. Most sellers are still covering the buyer agent fee Because if you don't, you get fewer showings, you get a smaller buyer pool, and your house is just gonna sit on the market longer and longer and longer. So most sellers aren't willing to take that risk. So the money still flows the same direction, it just doesn't show up on the MLS anymore. So commission rates went up in about 39 states between 2024 and 2025. They went down in 10 states. This isn't a San Diego thing, it's a national reality. Now, everything I just showed you is national data, but national averages don't buy your house. So let's talk San Diego. Now, the median single family home in San Diego County just crossed $1 million. That's from the San Diego MLS, current as of March 2026. And a regular family home in a decent neighborhood is $1 million purchase now. That's not luxury, that's just what it costs to live here. Homes in the $750K range to $1 million range are moving the fastest right now. That tells you something very important. At a higher price point, there's more time, more leverage, more room to negotiate. If your broker isn't using this to your advantage, you need to ask why. So inventory is sitting about 1.9 months for single family homes, 2.8 for condos, still below the 6-month mark that would make it truly a balanced market. But it's a real improvement from the 1 to 1.5 months we saw during the pandemic. Buyers have more options now than they've had in years. And rates. The 30-year fixed rate dropped to about 6.72 to 6.19% over the past year. That's meaningful buying power, but lower rates also bring more competition. So you've got this window right now that you have both leverage and affordability, and that combination doesn't last forever. So here's what I want to leave you with. The settlement did give you tools, but most people aren't using them. A Redfin survey of 4,000 people found that nearly half of all sellers and almost half of all buyers didn't even try to negotiate their commission. The right was handed to them and they left it on the table. Now, don't be one of those people. Here are the 5 questions you should ask any broker you're considering working with. 1, what is your commission and what exactly do I get for it? The written agreement is now required. Use it as a tool, not a formality. If the answer is vague, well, that is your answer. 2, are you offering buyer agent commission? If you're a seller, understand that skipping this can limit who sees your home. If you're a buyer, know where your agent is getting paid and who's paying it. 3, what's your negotiation strategy at this price point? At these numbers, you can't afford someone who's figuring it out as they go. Ask for specifics. 4, how many transactions have you closed in the last 12 months in this area and this price range? So volume at a price point matters more than total volume. And 5, will you walk me through the full math of what I'm paying at closing? Commissions, closing costs, concessions, the whole picture. A broker who resists this conversation is the problem the settlement was trying to solve. So the settlement didn't fix commissions. It gave you the tools to have a real conversation, but tools only work if you pick them up. Now, if you're buying or selling in San Diego and you want to have a conversation with someone who isn't gonna dodge your questions, there's a booking link in the description. We'll sit down, take a look at your situation, and see if we'd be a good fit to work together. No pressure, no pitch, just clarity. I'm Ricardo. I'll see you next week.